A thematic commentary on the Quran by Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali, translated from the Arabic by Ashud A. Shamis and revised by Zainab Alawi. May Allah bless them all. Surah number 2, Surah al-Baqarah, part 2. In the face of narrow-minded religious fanaticism, Islam emerged to promote a tolerant religious unity, addressed to and embracing all of humankind, built on pristine human nature and sound common sense. The Jewish and the Christian establishment had grown accustomed to seeing truth as their own monopoly and salvation as theirs alone. Islam questioned that judgment and the attitude underlying it. We read in the surah, they, the Jewish and the Christian elders, declared, only Jews and Christians shall enter paradise. Such are their wishful fancies. Say, bring forth your proof, if you are really truthful. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 111. There are the people in the world who have come to know God truly, and who have submitted themselves to Him and dedicated their life and energies to His service, and whose efforts should not be allowed to go to waste. The surah thus affirms, indeed, those who surrender themselves to God and do good works shall be rewarded by their Lord. They shall have nothing to fear or to regret. Ayat 112. It was on this basis that the Quran called upon the people of the book to believe in God and all His messengers, and to cast aside their religiocentricity, which lead each group to claim a monopoly on truth. The surah cites the spokesman's allegation. They said, accept the faith of the Jews or the Christians, and you shall be rightly guided. Say, by no means we shall accept the religion of Abraham, the pious man who was never an idolater. Ayat 135. It also advised them to believe in all the prophets sent by God to guide humanity, since there would be no meaning in excluding any one of them. The surah says, say, we believe in God and in that which is revealed to us and that which was revealed to Abraham, Ismail, Isaac, Jacob, and the tribes, and in what Moses, Jesus, and the prophets received from their Lord. We make no distinction among any of them, and to God we have surrendered ourselves. Ayat 136. These are the basic principles of the unity of religion as expounded in the surah and presented to the Jews and the Christians, for them to adopt and share with the Muslim. At the beginning of this exposition, the Quran makes it clear that Islam, as such, is not a new religion, but the same religion preached by all preceding messengers. Jews have always taken pride in the fact that they are the sons of Jacob, known also as Israel, after whom the modern Jewish state is named. But who was Jacob? He was a pious man who acknowledged God and surrendered to Him, and who taught his children to do likewise. Before he passed away, he made sure that his legacy continued intact in his descendants. The surah relates, were you present when death came to Jacob, and he said to his children, what will you worship after I die? They said, we shall worship your God and the God of your forefathers, Abraham, Ismail, and Isaac, the one God to whom we all surrender. Ayat 133. Surrender to God, or to use the Arabic term, Islam, is the only natural and logical position creation can assume in relation to the Creator, the definitive bond between humankind and God. It is only natural for creation to surrender to its Creator and yearn for His mercy and pleasure. This is the essence of true religion rather than rebellion against God. It is neither transgression nor adherence to man-made religions. Muhammad restored for religions its true and proper place in the world and charted a unique and sure way towards God, as the surah states. So if they accept what you have believed in, they shall be rightly guided, but if they reject it, they shall be in schism. God will defend you against them. He hears all and knows all. Ayat 137. The verse advances two morals. The first being to offer the Jews of Medina the choice of accepting the new faith, and the second being neither to condemn nor scold them for their rejection of it. They were merely left to their own devices, and if they were to initiate hostilities, God would help and protect the Muslim against them. Thus was the overall framework of religious unity as presented in this surah. However, one possible misunderstanding remains to be clarified. This concerns the statement that all messengers were Muslim, although we know that Islam was the message that Muhammad, the last prophet and messenger, had established. The answer lies in the fact that religion has always been one. It entails faith in God and a righteous life of good deeds, which are the very essence of the religion of Islam. For faith to be complete, mere or abstract knowledge is not sufficient. A believer has to attest to his or her belief and indicate to God that he or she has received the message and is ready and willing to obey Him. Or as the Qur'an puts it, we hear and we obey. Grant us your forgiveness, Lord, to you we shall all return. Ayat 285. Satan's knowledge of the fact that one God was the creator of all things did not spare him, because knowledge has to be supported by submission to God's command and followed by exertion to please Him. Having refused to do so, Satan was ostracized and banished from God's grace. All messengers have declared their knowledge of the true God and demonstrated their obedience to Him. This was the case with Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. To list the Quranic verses that confirm this would take much space, but suffice it to say that they were all advocates of surrender to the will and power of God, despite the minor variation in what they had taught and preached at various periods of human history. When people are born, they are given names which remain with them right through to their old age, although their personalities and spheres of activities widen quite extensively. Likewise, it would be naive to think that the scope and the sphere of religion today can be compared to those during Noah's time. For example, the focal point and the central theme may remain the same in both cases, but the outer limits can expand according to the needs and level of development of the period. In today's technological terms, the national power grid in certain small towns can extend to only a few square kilometers, whereas in big cities it has to cover hundreds or perhaps thousands of times that area. However, the electric current flowing through both grid systems must remain the same and perform the same function. Muhammad was preceded by the tumultuous experiences of Moses and Jesus. Muhammad was preceded by the tumultuous experiences of Moses and Jesus, and it would not be unusual that his commission should introduce certain amendments and correction, or make alteration and addition that have become necessary by the passage of time. It would also been quite normal for him to throw a new light on or several fresh aspects of religion that may not have been dealt with by his predecessors. Thus, his coming was a matter of urgency to correct the direction of human history and to alert the people of the book to the malaise and confusion they had brought upon themselves and humankind as a whole. As far as Christians were concerned, it was necessary to re-emphasize the concept of Tawhid, to reinstate the identity of Jesus as a human being, and to point out that he and his disciples were ordinary mortals, advocates of the true religion of Islam. In the case of the Arabian Jews, there was a need to reprimand them for their arrogance, to weaken their encroachment on authentic divine revelation, and to reaffirm the fact that God had no biased affinity towards any particular ethnic groups of the human race. The surah stresses the fact that sincere and honest followers of Moses and Jesus are one with those of Muhammad in the belief they hold and the faith they are to receive. The believers, the Jews, the Christians, and the Sabaeans, however, believe in God and the last day, and does good deeds, shall be rewarded by their Lord. They have nothing to fear or to regret. Ayat 62. But those of the people of the book who discarded revelation, neglected their obligation towards the Lord, and choose to pursue their capricious worldly desires, vying with idolaters who have no claim to godliness, their plight will be made worse by the envy and hostility towards the believers. The surah inquires, who is more wicked than those who seek to destroy the mosque of God and forbid his name to be invoked in them? These perpetrators can only enter mosques in fear. They shall be held up to shame in this world and shall receive stern punishment in the hereafter. Ayat 114. Having been revealed immediately after the Prophet's immigration from Mecca to Medina, during the formative days of the new Muslim community, the surah lays down the fundamentals upon which relation among followers of various religions ought to be conducted. At the same time, it calls for the unity of religion by advocating a return to the common basic teachings of all messengers. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim.